ice cream and ice cream homophones, or do we have another term here? When two phrases are pronounced alike but have different spelling and meaning, can we call them homophones? E.g., ice cream and ice cream, nitrate and nitrate, that's tough and that's stuff. Or is there another term for them? What linguistic phenomenon distinguishes these near homophones? I've checked the putative duplicate at I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Is there a term that describes this wordplay? But it isn't exactly what I'm asking here.
The simple answer is no, ice cream and nitrate are not homophonous with ice cream and nitrate. If you go by Trist's comment above, it appears that some dialects of English pronounce the initial vowel in ice cream and ice cream differently, but this is not universally applicable, and I would venture that this split is limited to a minority of dialects. What distinguishes the two sets in all varieties of English is their syllable boundaries. Morphological boundaries nearly always create phonemic syllable boundaries. In phonemic writing, indicating syllable boundaries with a period dot, the two pairs look like this. Ice cream as dot crim and nitrate na dot tret ice cream a dot scrim 1 and nitrate nat dot read. In English phonology, it is a well-known and universal fact too that an unvoiced plosive p, t, k is aspirated when it both occurs immediately before a stressed vowel and syllable initially, but not in the syllable coda. In the case of t, this aspiration usually shows up as a slight affrication with little true aspiration. The initial aspiration applies only if the plosive is the first sound in the syllable, so initial sp, st, sk not aspirated. If an approximant, such as rlj, immediately follows an aspirated plosive, the aspiration of the plosive is carried over into the approximant, which is rendered devoiced. If you notice, the first line in the quote above has syllable boundaries that cause the k and the t to be the first sound in the second syllable, while the second line has syllable boundaries that result in this not being the case. Therefore, in the first line, the plosives are aspirated and the following are devoiced, while in the second, the plosive is unaspirated and the are voiced, phonetically, in generic, broadcast American. Ice cream, as .ki, and nitrate, na.tt, 3 ice cream, a.skim, and nitrate, nat.t. Since syllable final, t, is often reduced to an unreleased, t, or even just a glottal stop, the second pair can be even further distinguished. Nitrate, na.t, versus nitrate, nat.t, or na. Notes. 1. I don't mark the stress in this one since it's a phrase, not a lexeme. It can be stressed on either syllable, depending on emphasis. 2. I'm not sure whether it applies in Indian English, and there are probably quite a few variants of African English where it doesn't apply either, so understand universal here to refer to all dialects of British, Irish, Scottish, Canadian, South African, and Antipodean English. 3. The sequence, t, followed by the retroflex, or in American English more commonly, will normally merge somewhat, causing that t to become retroflex as well. A more accurate phonetic notation would be t, but for the sake of simplicity, I'll ignore this here and just write t.
Homophonic phrases are also called oronyms, also called a continuum or a slice onym. Junctures help differentiate homophonic phrases, a term used in modern linguistics to describe a distinctive feature of language. Juncture is defined by H. Whitehall in his Structural Essentials of English as an interruption of normal transition between contiguous speech sounds. Linguistics, the transition from one speech sound to the next, either within a word as between T and R in nitrate or marking the boundaries between words as between T and R in nitrate. This URL. The set of phonological features signaling a division between words, such as those that distinguish a name from an aim. This URL, the exact side junctures, what helps us differentiate ice cream from ice cream and perceive they are not true homophones. Juncture, usually symbolized by the sign plus, is marked by a fading off of the voice and a pause. In the two groups peace talks and peace talks, juncture occurs after the S in peace and after the I in P. Other examples of this differentiation by juncture are ice cream x ice cream, a name x and aim, nitrate x nitrate, that's scum x that's cum, that's tough x that stuff. Structural Essentials of English, H. Whitehall Longmans, 1966. Other references. This URL. This URL.
The phonetic representations I would argue are: ice cream equals vis.kime. Ice cream equals I.scream. This uses Canadian raising, as I'm from Western Canada, which distinguishes the i's. Also note the K is aspirated, with a spread glottis for ice cream, and unaspirated, not necessarily with a closed glottis, though, for ice cream.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.